my grandma's daughter and her spouse brought me up in a house that taught me how to be a responsible father. See, I tried to keep you close to me so you wouldn't know the streets. See, I never actually had a child of my own. But having custody of my cousin was the closest thing I had to that. And I had to turn some of my habits back as I was adjusting to having them in my habitat, forcing me to give up certain parts of my life because I opted to have his back. I mean, it just made better sense that I be the one to take him out of his element. Like, maybe if I can reach and save him and show him right, it's better than it be in the streets to raise him because of a messed up home life. See, at that point, I didn't want him growing up with proverbial vengeance, unconcerned about repentance because his childhood wasn't splendid. I had to be the benefactor. If I hadn't been a factor, his youth probably would have been a disaster. So it was recommended that I step in to help him, help raise him, to give him, provide the stability and safety that they never gave him. But at the same time, I was still busy, still literally trying to be a kid, a young adult myself, while raising one as my son. See, him being neglected wasn't his fault, so I stepped in because it meant more for him to have a mentor since he never really had one. So true, I had to become a man before I was ready to. And yeah, at first I was unsteady and not ready to levy the two. And it was real apparent that I was new at being a parent, so naturally I made my mistakes. But see, they pardoned my slips. I was still responsible and stable in the court's eyes to have guardianship, even though I never received a single check from Social Security, not one dime, for reasons I'll keep undefined. I still managed to be able to provide a household and a place to stay, though it meant having to work 2 jobs for more than 16 hours a day for months at a time. And it got hectic. But I was that structure so he wasn't disconnected. The strong generations my parents came from was what I was blessed with. See, to me, it was to be expected. To be everything from Big Mama on Sundays to Big Brother Jake on Tuesdays. And usually, if we weren't speaking because of a disagreement, call it growing pains from raising a teen, I still had that focused aim and remained out in the open, outspoken, not just raising him behind the scenes. Even though the pain may have only went away for a day, it's one thing thinking it, but speaking it can just as easily be jinxing it. So even though it was a strain, you would have never known it because I never complained. When I looked into his eyes and said goodnight, everything seemed to be all right. However brief. Even if only for that moment, I was his consoling, whatever the grief. I know I had my hands full, but see, I was just trying to set a good example. And I'm not mad at that. Really, it just meant not spending frivolously, pretending like I didn't have responsibility, because literally, we didn't have much. But I would always tell him we would be okay as long as we had us. So to the people who've asked me if I've ever had or raised a child of my own, do I have any kids? Or have I done any parenting? Do I know what it's like to be there for comfort and wondering what's going on at school while preparing food required for stomach rumblings? Do I know what it's like to keep a stable roof above me while trying to prepare a child for a world so ugly? Do I know what it's like to be on the other end of a teenage grudge for something you did out of love and gratitude, doing what's best for them, when it seems all they care about is themselves because of their current attitude, tone, and line of questioning? You be the judge. And I know you're watching and listening. I just hope you can see it and appreciate what you were given by me. Love.